Right now at 6, still searching 15 years after Kairen Horman disappeared.
What does closure look like for you?
Bringing him home. Bringing him home.
This evening, the new police body cam video of the woman once described as the prime suspect.
Plus, what neighbors say they saw at the battleground home where 2 people were found dead.
It was clear early on that there was some event that was going on, but it wasn't until later in the day that we realized what actually happened.
Then, the controversial new proposals in Salem to raise several taxes and fees to keep up our streets.
Our transportation system is currently underinvested and has been disinvested for the past few decades.
And later, the Beavers are headed to the Super Regionals, ready to prove why they are one of the top baseball teams in the country.
Good evening, everyone. We want to get right to breaking news in central Washington, where authorities are now giving an update on the now nationwide search for Travis Decker, who is wanted in connection with the deaths of his 3 young daughters. We'll be streaming this news conference from the Chelan County Sheriff's Office live on our TV streaming app. It is KGW+, if you would like to watch the whole thing start to finish.
For now, here is what we know. The bodies of Decker's daughters, Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia, ages 9, 8, and 5, were found close to a campground near Leavenworth, Washington, earlier this week. Investigators are now searching national forests and other wooded areas on the ground and by air, looking for any sign of Decker. The girl's mother is the one who notified authorities when their dad did not bring them back from a scheduled visit on Friday.
Again, that news conference is available for you right now on KGW+. We'll bring you any key updates a little bit later in this newscast.
Now to another big story this evening. It has been 15 years to the day since Kairen Horman, then 7 years old, disappeared from a Northwest Portland school. Thanks for joining us here at 6. I'm Christine Pitawanich.
And I'm David Molko. Tonight we are checking in with Kairen's parents, getting an update on his stepmother, who they have long suspected was somehow involved. Investigator reporter Kyle Bochi has been covering Kairen's disappearance and all the strands of it since day one. So Kyle, first of all, where does the police case stand?
Well, this is still a very active, ongoing investigation. In fact, the Multnomah County Sheriff's Office said recently investigators are working to digitize and reorganize the entire case, which involves scanning thousands of pages of reports, photos, and evidence. The search for Kairen Horman continues. 15 years after his disappearance, the little boy's parents haven't given up hope.
How many stories have we seen kids coming home 20 years later?
Kairen will never be forgotten.
When I'm 90, I'm still going to cry over this. This is something that changed our entire lives. You never move on fully from that.
Kairen Horman was last seen on June 4th, 2010 at Skyline School. The FBI, local police, and hundreds of volunteers scoured the wooded area around Kairen's home and school in Northwest Portland, looking desperately for the second grader. Over the past 15 years, the Sheriff's Office has dedicated roughly $1.9 million to the investigation, according to newly released records. But Kairen has never been found.
What does closure look like for you?
Bringing him home. Bringing him home. And I don't know what that means, but bringing him home.
This is the last known photo of the then 7-year-old standing in front of his school's science project.
That day, June 4th, has been well documented. Is there anything that the public doesn't know about that day?
Yeah, absolutely.
Kairen's biological mom, Desiree Young, says the evidence points towards Kairen's stepmother. Terry Horman took Kairen to school that day.
The reality is super simple. Terry got to the school around 8:10, 8:15. It was before any other parent was in the school.
Young claims the stepmom, Terry Horman, was the last person spotted with Kairen before he vanished.
She took the photo of Kairen in front of his diorama and 2 of Kairen's friends. And she walked out the school with Kairen at that very moment. It is witnessed by people who were outside the school who know Kairen, his friends, their parents, their grandparents, and siblings. So we know that Terry walked out the school with Kairen and walked toward the truck. That is where he disappears.
A judge once described Terry Horman as the prime suspect, although she's never been charged and has long denied any involvement.
I do feel like she's involved in some way, shape, or form. Was there for all the failed polygraphs. Statistically, there's something off about that, just in general. The lack of cooperation, the lack of coming forward, the lack of ever clearing the investigation.
Terry Horman has since remarried and moved to California, where she's had several run-ins with police, including this 2016 arrest for allegedly driving a stolen vehicle.
One of the things I do need to do before I talk to you, since you're under arrest right now, is I'm going to read you your rights. Okay.
Those stolen vehicle charges were later dropped. Terry Horman could not be reached for comment. Multnomah County investigators say they're working on a comprehensive review of the entire case and plan to meet with the district attorney in the coming months for further evaluation.
Going forward, do you think there will be an indictment?
I believe it in my heart, and I believe that we will win.
So Kyle, I'd love to get your read on that 15 years later. Do you think this case will ever be solved?
I certainly hope so. I do think after all these years, though, it may take a little bit of luck. Somebody finds something, maybe there's a confession, or somebody comes forward with some new information. Maybe they haven't shared with law enforcement, or at the time, 15 years ago, they didn't think it was all that significant, but now it clicks and they're like, this may be actually something valuable here to investigate.
Gotta hope those people come forward, whoever it is.
Exactly.
Right?
So we encourage anybody with information to come to the Multnomah County Sheriff's Office and call in with tips. Also, if you want to see more on Kairen Horman, we've got an extended special on Kairen's disappearance. It'll be streaming on KGW Plus at 8 p.m. tonight. You can download the KGW Plus app for free through Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV.
In your headlines, Battleground police have just identified the person they're calling a suspect in a double homicide. Investigators say 40-year-old Evaristo Jr. Vela was found critically hurt inside the home and is suspected of killing the two others who were discovered dead there. This happened yesterday morning off Northeast 2nd Avenue. Today we spoke with Battleground's police chief about the case.
Sadly, though, when you're dealing with domestic incidents, these things can become tragic. Emotions get involved and people act out of emotions.
Chief Dennis Flynn, who you just heard from, says at least 2 of the people involved are family members.
And Battle Deschutes County Sheriff Kent Vanderkamp says he will resign at the end of August, just 8 months into his first term. This comes as a state board prepares to vote on whether to revoke his police certification. This is over accusations he lied under oath about his education and his past law enforcement work. Vanderkamp denies wrongdoing, but says he plans to retire anyway. If the board moves forward, he would become just the 3rd sitting Oregon sheriff ever stripped of certification.
And In-N-Out fans, listen up. It is happening. The popular burger chain is getting closer to opening its new restaurant in Ridgefield. It'll be In-N-Out's first location in Washington. This morning, crews put up the iconic arrow sign. Construction, by the way, for the new restaurant is nearing the finish line. But no word yet on when exactly the Southwest Washington location will be open to the public. Matt, you there? You a burger fan?
I'm in, I'm out. I'm mainly out, however, on that one. But a lot of people are very, very happy to see that happen, right? All right, at the Reserve Golf Course, the clouds are clearing right now. It is 69 degrees. We got this late warming courtesy of the breaks that we're getting in the clouds. A lot of breaks at the coast, too. Look at that. Beautiful. Lincoln City, 58 degrees on the cool side. But everybody will be warming up over the next few days. In fact, because it's our first 90-degree stretch of the year, weather impact alert days for Saturday and Sunday, it's a moderate heat risk. We're not going to see extreme heat, but it will be hot. You'll feel it for sure, especially considering that Saturday is parade day. So stay hydrated and try not to overexert yourself if you can help it at all. Here is the forecast for the Grand Floral Parade. It'll be clear. It'll be very warm. Parade time temperatures 70s to about 81 by noon. But again, it's going to be a hot day. More on this and all the rest of the weather in a bit, guys.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Matt.
Right now, Oregon lawmakers are in the middle of a high-stakes debate over how to fund the future of transportation.
Yeah, today some Democrats proposed several additions that Republicans say Oregonians cannot afford. Devin Haskins has the story.
It is time that Oregon do the responsible thing and lean into ensuring that we are protecting the investments we've already made in infrastructure that exists, in our roads, in our bridges, and continuing to move us into the 21st century and addressing climate and safety.
On the Capitol steps in Salem, some 3 weeks before the legislative session ends, Some Oregon Democrats proposing changes to the highly contested transportation package. They laid out an amendment, a new SMART framework, which stands for Safe, Modern, Reliable, Affordable Transportation, to build on the $1.9 billion TRIP package released in April.
Public transit safety are really priorities that are much more heavily invested in our SMART framework, and we're hoping to see that in the package we're expecting to be released any day now.
But the transportation proposals would come at a cost to Oregonians. A payroll tax that funds transit would increase by 0.5% by 2032. For someone making $100,000 a year, that's around $41 a month. A new gas tax would increase fuel prices 10 cents every 2 years, and vehicle registration fees would increase by 50%. Democrats say that without those investments, transit agencies statewide could face cuts.
Our transportation system is currently underinvested and has been disinvested for the past few decades. So unfortunately, we're going to have a conversation with Oregonians about what they're willing to invest in to ensure that we have roads that are not full of potholes, kids that can get to school safely.
Republicans are calling it a massive tax hike that Oregonians can't afford.
Their proposal to Oregonians is, please pay more and expect to get less. And we don't agree with that.
Republicans released their own plan in April. It doesn't raise taxes, instead would cut around $730 million from programs like passenger rail, bicycle and pedestrian paths, and leasing unused office space, among others.
Republicans' proposal provides accountability, it narrows the focus back to core mission, and it redirects existing taxes to be able to focus on roads.
Representative Christine Drazen argues Oregonians shouldn't be asked to pay more when past projects like the Rose Quarter and Abernathy Bridge remain unfinished.
When it comes to roads, that $1.9 billion is an overreach that just commits to expanding status quo.
Both Democrats and Republicans hope to have their transportation bills put forward in the next couple of days, and they have limited time to get them heard and passed because the end of the session is June 29th. In Salem, I'm Devin Haskins, KGW News.